Therefore, mining constitutes a very is like the backbone of the human development and development. So it's very important. However, we also don't want we're trying to give people investors or the countries a little bit of knowledge and platform to determine the economic viable mine, because it's very important, because after all, mining is a business activities. Okay, it's a business activity that needs to be yielding profit, so he can be able to sustain himself, pay his people, pay the stakeholders, right? So how to determine it at the first sight? So we have what we call the value of the deposit. Okay, what is the value of the deposit that you buy? What is the expression? What is the value of what you're trying to mine? Well, if it's gold, he has to check on the market. Unfortunately, in Africa, we don't determine most of those prices. That is the unfortunate part. But you can always find them in the stock market. Not stock market, but the market prices are over there, where they determine how much is your gold, per grams or per kilograms. Or your platinum, it does mean your nickel or your copper or your zinc or anything that you want to mine. It can be cents on your really not find it because it's basically cheap. But you have like your different type of stone. You have emerald, you have so you should always check the value of the ore that you're trying to mine. But sometimes as well, you don't have to check the value, because you've been given the opportunity to supply a certain mineral, and then you now have to go different way from the bottom up to go now and check if am I going to mine these things available or not. So we also have the kind of the deposit. So we type of the kind of deposit I'm trying to mine here. So that is jointly going together, because the kind of deposit determines the value of the deposit, right? So the kind of deposit is very important, and which how is it associated with the other country rocks? It's very important. Some minerals can come with associated minerals or peripheral minerals. Like in the case of gold, you will find gold with uranium on the side. Okay, so you should always check that as well. When you have the extension of the deposit, how far extended your deposit is. And when you talk about the deposit, you're talking about the ore body, right? How extended it is, so you can be able to mine them effectively, and that will give you an estimation of the life of mine. Okay, how long are you going to be mining that thing based on extension? How long is it going to take you? How big it is? Okay, and you also have to look at the depth of the deposit, how deep your deposit is relatively to the surface of the earth. You see, it can be 50 meters under 50 meters, which is good, is basically near surface. And you also have what we call, it can be so deep, kilometers underground. Okay, and the deeper the deposit, the expensive or the complex it becomes to mine. Okay, and this also determines on the method of mining, which is underground or surface mining, and the operational costs will become higher. Okay, and in Africa, most of the African country, we have the blessing of having most of our mines near surface. Okay, so in the DRC, where I'm originally coming from, we our mines are really not very deep underground. But also, according to the geological formations, we always, even if you find sometimes your ore body bends, okay, if you have your ore body flat like this, sometimes with the geological features, because of the plates and everything, it's supposed to geology, so they bend like this because of the movement of the earth. So you find you have the first seam and then the second seam. So the first seam can be close to surface, and you still have the second seam, it is a little bit again below. So when you're doing your exploration, your drill, you should always go excavating and exploration to check deep if you can find the double seam, so you can have the first layer of the ore and the second layer of the ore. Okay, so unfortunately, when you can't do it effectively or determine effectively if you're still using the old method of mining, and you may find that you are mining only the first seam, hence you're forgetting that there is a second seam which is underground. You just right below the other seam. So the deeper you go, probably the better, and the better quality of your ore. Okay, that is in terms of extension. Okay, also your depth of the mine, and you also have the structure of the deposit. How is your deposit structured? Is it, as mentioned, is it on the same level? Same is just a ore which is flat, just like a piece of like a bread slice. Okay, same, and it can be veined. Vein, it just look like it's just like the other type of bread, which is a bit elongated, veined, going downward. It can also be massive. Okay, massive means is like the whole thing. Okay, that's a massive. It's buried underground. So how the structure of the deposit is, because that structure will also determine how you're going to be mining it. Okay, because there's certain formations of your ore body which is a little bit complex to mine, especially if the value is high, because you want to do what we call maximize your production. So you maximize your recovery, maximize your recovery. Okay, because you don't want to go spend money to mine something and you're not mining it all, because what will happen, you're also depleting, you first of all moving or disturbing the surface of the earth with all the environmentals and everything that is involved, and only mining half and leaving the mines. So the government has regulations that protect mines for doing a proper mining, proper mining. Okay, we also have the actual mode of occurrence of the mineral deposit. Okay, the actual mode of occurrence, we look at the sufficient size, okay, and then the sufficient grade, and goes together. How is it? How is the actual mode of occurrence of that mineral deposit? Okay, and we have the metallurgical process of reduction required for you to produce the final product of that mineral. Okay, it's very, very important. How is the beneficiation? Beneficiation is just a jargon word that explain on how to refine, how to extract your ore or your minerals from the ore body. Okay, because the minerals, it's what you need. You need the gold or the silver that we used to do our rings and everything, or put in your motherboard or in our RAMs, in our laptops and everything. Okay, so that's small goldish things. This is what we need, those nice fine ones. But now the ore body has the ganj inside, but that rock consists of gold inside. So the metallurgical process of taking the particular things is also have to look it into consideration. How much is it going to cost us, in the short and long term? So we can determine now, if we now go to calculate it backward to see if this mine is economically viable or not. Okay, so that is very, very important on our point. So we listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, here's this other thing. But now this courses or sessions or points goes deeper now on professionalism, on mining evaluation and economics, as my field of expertise. So there's calculations that goes further on our field as how to do in underground, how to do an ore flow, and surface mining, how to do the ore flow as well, and trying not to determine the costs, the operational costs or the mining costs that goes along with this. So there's a lot of calculations involved into this, a lot of cross examinations or information that you need for you, because you need the report from the rock engineers, you need the report for the geologists, you need the report for the miners, you need the report for the surveyors, who's going to do mineral economics, who's going to do your mineral evaluations for you to be able to determine all those areas. You also have your finance people who's going to break everything, but the finance comes on the later stage, because they have now to get the overall, the HR, how much, but all these things have to be determined by those key key department that sits in the planning office, okay, in the beginning of the mine, right? And we also have the world demand and market price of the minerals, part of one of the things. So the world demand, how demanding or how is my mineral is on demand in the market right now. As you know, with the booming of technology, we have minerals that is in need. Okay, we have copper is in need. We have gold is in need. We have lithium is in need, for batteries purposes. So there's becoming strategic minerals. So how important is your goal, or what is the market demand? This is actually a proper term. What is the market demand of the minerals, and the location of the deposit? Okay, so the location of your deposit is very important. You need to check how far, where is my deposit located at. Okay, I'll give you a scenario. Sometimes you may find that your minerals is in the middle of the desert, far from people or infrastructures, which is good, but far from life. Okay, now you have to check, is this mineral, how is the value of these minerals? First of all, how is the market demand? Is it in the market demand? And how is the formations? You have to check what is my costing in there. First, we need to develop the road to evacuate people, to evacuate the minerals from the desert to that side, to where you can find the existing road built by the government. Okay, so it's very important. And in the desert, you need to find is there water in there. We have water problems, so it means you need to start again, looking for water supply. Is there energy supply over there? Is there power lines? Okay, if not, then it means you need to have your own power sources. Our generators, big generators, or solar panels and everything. So you need to make sure that whatever source of sufficient power needed for you to mine should be available. Okay, but also you have, where is your employees going to be staying, or is going to be accommodated at? This is far from infrastructures. Existing infrastructure means you need to build infrastructure for them to stay there, because mining is labor intensive. So you need people to be close by. They shouldn't be traveling long distances, because there's going to occur the cost for them, and their salary will be a little bit high. Okay, so the location is very important. Okay, related to transport as well. And you also have the availability of labor and resources. Okay, the resources are retouched by the availability of labor. Is there labor in that particular area? Okay, is your labor going to come far from the place? So if they're going to come far from that place, it means those people should be relocated. Okay, some of the miners are family people, so it means it's either can come with the family to the near city, so they can also have this parental whatever family unifications, or leave them afar. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, it's either you taking repatriate or taking people from that area, so you should look at those things. Okay, and you also have the climate condition of the area. How is the climatic condition of the area? Okay, is the area dry? Is the area very cold or dry? Or is the area what you call it? It's a tropical place where it rains a lot. Okay, so it's very important. Is it in the North Pole, where it's always very cold? It's very important. Or it's always snowing. So this is very important. Like in Russia, you have your surface mining is snowing a lot, and they're having a difficulty because you come in the morning, or during when you're mining, the whole pit is covered by snows. Okay, so that is very, very important to look at the climatic place. Like in the DRC, we also have a lot of challenges relating to rain, because it rains a lot. So the climate plays a big role, especially in the explosions, okay, in blasting. That is actually a problem. So when you're blasting, yes, we have explosives that are immune to water, built especially, but blasting in a wet condition is not always a good, or is not always advisable, or is in the good conditions. Okay, so those kind of things you should check now when you're planning, or in the overall places where you're trying to mine. How long is the raining season, or how is the dry season, how often is snowing in that places. Okay, and all those have you incurred more costs in your operations. Okay, and you also have the effect which mining deposits would have on the health of the workers, which is very important. Is your minerals radioactive to destroy human health? Especially relating to your workers, because if the mineral deposit is very radioactive, and the half of the workers will be on stake, nobody would like to work there unless if you pay him a lot of money for him to sustain or to care for your family in the case where he gets sick or he dies or pass away. So therefore, that will incur on more costs on on your operational costs. Those are actually will be fixed costs, but also there's still going to incur other costs, which is going to be the variable cost, simply because there's going to be a lot of sicknesses, right? So probably then you advise everybody to have a medical aid, which is going to be very high, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are very important portions. And finally, or lastly, I also like to touch on the environmental. Why I'm closing it, because I take myself as environmentalist and mineral economist. Okay, so I like the environmental part, because part of everything that God has given us is the environment. Okay, is the environment around us. So we have the trees, we have plants, we have animals, insects, we have fish, we have the rock around us, the structures around us. Okay, the structures, of course, when we talk about structures, we talk about maintenance and everything. Okay, the ecosystem. So environmental disturbances in mind, it's very often, not often, but it's inevitable. So it's also one of the very important, because before you are given the mining permit, you need to submit what we call the environmental impact assessment plan. So which touches on how are you going to manage, or how are you going to mitigate on not depleting the environment as worse as possible. So the environmental condition is very important. Now in environmental, we find a lot of problems in environmental alone. So now in your mind, when you should check, okay, we have my surface mining as well as underground mining causes what we call ground vibration, which is environmental problem. Okay, ground vibration. How to mitigate the ground vibrations? To talk about it in our next session, because it's more detailed. Okay, and we also have the noise pollution. When you're blasting, you're putting explosive, you're blasting, it makes a lot of noise. Okay, so people around or the animals around flies goes away. You also have the dust pollution. When you're blasting, it creates dust, and that dust, it goes to the air, pollutes the environment. People inhaling the dust destroy their lungs. Okay, very important. You also have the water pollution. Water pollution, you find that because you are disturbing the earth, some minerals are what you call sulfate or acidic. So they will, when you're blasting, it may go or touch the water bed or the underground water, which is getting affected, and then people using the boreholes on the side for drinking water, for bathing water and cooking water, you're going to get affected. You find the villages, people are suffering from diseases coming from the operation of the mine. We also have what we call disturbing the flora and the fauna. When you want to do mining activities, mostly surface mining, you're disturbing the surface. So you need to cut trees, you need to cut the plants will remove everything that is on the surface for you to be able to get these minerals. So it means disturbing the flora and fauna of the places. The insects on that area will be gone because they're coming to get the nectar. So especially like butterfly and so on and so forth. This is their home. That dwells in the plants. You're cutting them. You also have birds. Birds who used to have their houses in the trees, they are gone because the place that they come to stay, or their staying place, and their food habitations has been disturbed. We also have animals. The animals who have been having their homes in the forest and everything. That forest has been cut down because of the mining activities. So they are going to be running away, and then the villagers won't have a place to go and hunt for food or raise their cattle. So we also have fish. Fishes, especially if your mines disturb the near river, it means the fish in the river, particular river, will die. So it means the people, the community around won't have sufficient food in terms of fish for them to feed themselves. But also it's disturbing the ecosystem because the fish, apart from being used for the purpose of feeding, they maintain the ecosystem in our water resources. So environmental, it's very important, and it comes at the first position of our determining of economic viabilities. That one even does not only determine the economic viability, but it also determines your faith of either you're going to be given the permit or not. Okay, so in each and every thing that we do, and also we have the social impact that comes into mining, especially surface mining. You may find the instances whereby where you find your deposit, there is symmetries in there. Okay, in the worst case scenario, you find the symmetries by which you're trying to, which is located on the land that you need to mine. There are chiefs who have been buried underground there. Okay, so those symmetries becomes not only a symmetry, which is a memorial, but also a cultural place. Okay, for prayers or whatever thing. So there's a lot of negotiation that comes into that, because now you need to negotiate with the villagers on how to place to literally to dig out those people and go and create another cemetery on the other side. So all these things are probably things that you find in especially surface mining or mining, so which is very important environmental. So in anything that we're going to do in this mining, you should always consider those points. However, mining is a good activities which help and develop people. Okay, and you also have to check the governmental requirement on mining. Okay, you always have to have the give back program, which consists of empowering the people of that nation or people of that area. Okay, in giving them bursaries or scholarships, or developing hospitals, infrastructures, helping them in work, giving them tenders, so they can be. So those are mostly regulations that the government put into place. But apart from the regulations, the good faith shows that miners should always have that good faith for them to do, and also that goes hand in hand with the deposit and everything that you find, what you are holding from the land. I think our session will end here, and we're going to have more sessions into breaking down different aspects in which we've spoken about. But also, please don't hesitate to ask us any questions in the email below, and that's going to be given as well, going to be put in on the end of these videos, and the cell phone numbers, whatever things, for any concern and advice or consultations, and how to further invest in cooperative federations, especially for you who want to invest in mining, but also who want to buy minerals. They also help in both. Joel Service is the representation in Johannesburg or South Africa, as well as in different countries in the SADC region. So please contact Joel Services for further details. And for more questions, we are available here. Please go and subscribe in the YouTube channel and in the Common Base channel as well. And all the platform. I thank all the stakeholders in making this session possible. Common Base, UJ, Sahim for the knowledge given. We are also member of Sahim. Sahim, which is a Southern, mineral body in Southern Africa, and we also thank Stanford Science Academy for all the support and all the stakeholders behind the scene of making this session possible. For all of you, we thank you so much for having your time, and please give us the comments, your advice on how to improve the sessions. We're doing it free of charge to enable countries, governments, workers, mining people, investors, layman people to understand the mobilities and the importance of mining in the area. But also we have sessions that we're also going to be educating stakeholders to how to behave when it comes to mining. And I thank you so much, and please don't forget to subscribe in our YouTube channel. I'm your host, Emerald Heaven Donga. Ciao, thank you so much.